has to say about what's happened today in the Holy City.
Essence of public safety, we've been in contact with the county and the other two larger cities in the area, Mount Pleasant, North Charleston, and we all feel that for public safety tonight, it would be best for everyone to stay put after 11 o'clock tonight until 7 in the morning.
You just heard from City of Charleston Mayor John Tecklenburg. He actually made that announcement about 3 hours ago, and that's when they decided to enact this curfew, because already around 8 o'clock we started to see these protests that were once peaceful turn into riots, Brendan.
Yeah, we sure have. It's been a long night here in the Holy City. I'm looking at pictures now sent from people I know in downtown Charleston, and a lot of windows that were there just hours ago are no longer there. There's a lot of damage there. Have seen, and I will say this, we talk about looting and people going inside and stealing stuff, which to me is just one of the worst things that anyone could possibly do. I have seen a lot of broken windows here and damaged property. Haven't seen people going in and out of these retail businesses.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I've missed that, but I haven't seen it. Obviously, our cameras aren't everywhere, so we don't know exactly. Yeah. Maybe upper King,
Brendan,
lower
you
King,
are
exactly
right about that. I mean, we have seen a lot of broken windows. We have not seen excessive looting. I did hear reports when News 2's Riley Benson was at the Apple store earlier, of course, and they believe some things were taken. We didn't get that confirmed from police yet, so we are still monitoring that. We have News 2's Riley Benson actually standing by right now. He's live on near Calhoun and King Street. Riley, can you tell us about the scene down there?
Taylor, yeah, I'm standing right outside the Francis Marion Hotel. This is Calhoun off to my left. Again, this line of law enforcement police officers are set up here. This is King Street and Calhoun, the intersection, the corner. They are starting to clear people out, pushing them down Calhoun. They are getting ready, I'm assuming, to begin enforcing this curfew, moving people out of this area. No, thank you. So you can see they're getting ready to move people out of here. It's a very intense scene. There is some sort of gas being dispersed again. Several times there was quite a ruckus. People, all kinds of things, exchanging words with the police officers. They're pushing everybody, including us, out of that area. They're pushing us down Calhoun. So I believe they are beginning to enforce this curfew, Brendan and Taylor.
What's law enforcement doing? Are they warning them? It's 11 o'clock. You got to go, Riley. Can you still hear us? Are they saying that? Saying, listen, you're going to get out of here. You're going to get tear gassed.
Yeah, Brendan, they haven't specifically said anything referring to that curfew or it being 11 o'clock. They're just saying, it's time we need to move on. You need to go down this way, or they are going to spray. Didn't specifically say tear gas. They're saying, you need to disperse, or we're going to spray. You can see they just formed this line, and it continues to grow. It continues to have more law enforcement officers and police officers lining up on this intersection. I'm assuming they're going to continue moving down. There is another heavy presence of law enforcement behind our cameraman. I can see a ton of police cars parked there. So I'm assuming they're going to go ahead and continue to clear out Calhoun, Brendan.
Thank you, Riley. And Brendan, like you mentioned earlier, nationwide we have seen a breakout of these riots, protests that really have turned into riots. And we have seen curfews set across the nation and police having trouble to manage those curfews. So we are...
This certainly isn't about making a point. This is about just damaging stuff and just not going about things the correct way. Well, let's continue our team coverage. We're going to go back downtown. News 2's Raymond Owens is there live. Raymond, what can you tell us about the curfew? It is now on in Charleston County.
It is now on in Charleston County, and they are slowly but surely clearing this area out. You can see they're just past, kind of next to Virginia's on King, is basically where law enforcement is at this time, and they're making their way down the road here, kind of clearing out the area. If you look back toward Calhoun from where we're standing right here, you can see that it's pretty clear at this point compared to what it has been at any point here or earlier today. But I want to show you real quick, just to show you firsthand exactly what kind of damage is being done out here. Let's take a look at the Hotel Bennett, the entrance here to the Hotel Bennett. I mean, look at the glass. You can see they've bashed in numerous windows here at the Hotel Bennett. Here's another one over here. These two windows bashed in. A number of guests are out here, of course, obviously concerned about something like this happening. And then if you come around to the other side over here on the left side here, you've got the doors here also bashed in as well by protesters. And that's just one business. We're just here at the Hotel Bennett in downtown Charleston. Let's go over here and we're going to take a look at watch law enforcement kind of making their way down King Street. They are using tear gas, so we're trying to stay not too close to them because, you know, the tear gas does get kind of strong as you get closer to where they're at. It appears that what they're doing is sort of firing tear gas a little ways down the street and then kind of pushing their way through to where that tear gas is, because if you don't have a mask or something like or not a mask, but some sort of a protection against the tear gas, you cannot stay there once it starts flying. It's a very, very strong, and that's what they're doing here as 11 o'clock hits, as that curfew is happening here at 11 o'clock. They're starting to kind of, like I said, push their way down King Street and try and clear out downtown Charleston as much as they can of these protests. Live in downtown, back to you guys.
Raymond, thank you. Definitely a very intense scene right now in downtown Charleston. We have News 2's Riley Benson standing by. We want to continue our team coverage. Riley, what area are you in and what are you seeing?
Well, Taylor, we're still here on Calhoun. The Francis Marion Hotel is right above me to my left. Right now, there is a group of individuals running down Calhoun Street. It appears to be smashing police cars. There's a Charleston City police car right across the street from where we are. We could just hear glass being smashed on that police car. That group took off further down the road, and we heard more smashing. It sounded like glass. Things are getting testy here on Calhoun Street. Again, this line of law enforcement is still standing here. They haven't really moved for the last several minutes, maybe about 10 minutes they've been lined up. There are less people in this area, though. People are working their way down Calhoun. Hold that shot right there. People are working their way down Calhoun. Really, we're the only ones, for the most part, here in this section of Calhoun, with the exception of police and law enforcement, as most people have worked their way down Calhoun, away from the intersection of King and Calhoun and Marion Square. This group of law enforcement is just kind of holding their position right now, just kind of set up. And most people have dispersed. Again, like we were telling you, we could hear glass breaking. It sounded like it came from this police car across the street. It's a Charleston City police car. And then it sounded like we could hear more glass shattering further down the road. We don't know where that came from, as that group of people took off back down the street. But guys, this is really starting to clear out, which is good news. We've seen a lot of tense moments here in this particular area of King Street. But as you can see now behind me, most people have cleared out. There's not a whole lot going on, which is good news, Brendan and Taylor, back in the studio.
Yeah, Riley, it has to be a bit unsettling, though. I mean, when they throw out those tear gas canisters and you hear those explosions, it really ratchets up the tension in that area, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, people are obviously running away. I've even seen somebody pick up one of those canisters and throw them back towards police officers, law enforcement. That was a while ago when we were up by Hotel Bennett. Certainly when you see that, people are scattering. Obviously, we're trying to get as far away from that as possible, as most people are. But Brendan, the most shocking thing to me was to see someone pick up one of those canisters and chuck it back towards law enforcement officers. Again, that was a little while ago.
Absolutely. It's a big showdown we're seeing right now in downtown Charleston between rioters and police.
All right, Riley Benson continues our team coverage down there. We just heard from Raymond Owens, saw some of the damage at Hotel Bennett, which is right there next to Marion Square. We have seen several restaurants that have had their windows broken. And we are continuing to see that. I'm hearing that the restaurant Indigo was hard hit in that area as well. We know Halls was evacuated shortly after 9 o'clock. We want to go back to News 2's Raymond Owens as he was outside the Hotel Bennett showing us the damage there. Raymond, what's new with you? You're right across the street from Virginia's on King Street.
I am. I'm here at King Street and Hudson Street, and you can see law enforcement basically is preparing to it looks like they're preparing to kind of make another move down King Street. They've been doing this. They've been moving a little bit, at a time. Then they would kind of regroup for a moment, and then pushing down the street again. Now, Hudson Street, we have, there's not a lot of people here. Down the street, but you can see glass. They've broken out glass in many of these businesses here. This is kind of the back end of the corner where Hotel Bennett is located. So they're looking at the folks from the folks from the Hotel Bennett have been providing water. They gave us some bottled water, and that was much appreciated. And they're providing water to anybody out here who needs it. It's just amazing to see all of this happening right here in downtown Charleston. Like I said, this area right here at Hudson and King, is basically blocked off. There's not nearly the number of protesters here as we were seeing just in the last 20 minutes or so. There's really maybe a few people down here. But and if you look kind of beyond the police officers, let's look kind of down King Street. You can see there are a number of police officers still in the middle of the road. Oh, and there was something was just fired toward the protesters again. They're scattering. That may be another tear gas canister. And again, what we see basically is that there's tear gas thrown, and then they wait a moment, and then they kind of push their way down the street. So I'm assuming that may be what's getting ready to happen here as well. Also, we talked about other law enforcement agencies out here. I saw a couple more Berkeley County deputies. We've got Mount Pleasant police officers right here with City of Charleston. I know there's Charleston County. Pretty much it's all hands on deck with law enforcement, I would imagine, trying to alleviate this situation in downtown Charleston. And again, they just fired down King Street. It does look like that crowd that was there just a minute ago has started to move away from where they're at, probably because of that tear gas. Once that tear gas hits you, you have to move. There's no option of staying. It pretty much takes over all of your senses, and the only thing you can think about is getting out of the tear gas. So that's pretty much what's going on here right now. Like I said, there really are not a lot of protesters here right where I'm at this moment. But you do have a number of police cars here waiting kind of behind this group of law enforcement. I'm sure they're getting ready to kind of continue moving down and clear out more of this area as we have hit that curfew. So 11 o'clock, people are supposed to not be out at this point in Charleston County. So that's just kind of what we're seeing here at King and Hudson Street in downtown Charleston. We're going to continue with this and bring you the very latest as we see it happening in Charleston. Live in downtown Charleston, I'm Raymond Owens. Back to you.
Thank you. Before you go, I mean, there's so many iconic storefronts on King Street as well as restaurants. I think a lot of business owners are going to show up to work tomorrow surprised by the conditions. I mean, are you seeing a lot of broken glass, a lot of shattered storefronts?
Raymond is gone right now, but we will get back to Raymond Owens, continue that team coverage. We're hoping that we can talk to some people down there, maybe some property owners as well, to see exactly, business owners see exactly the damage that they are seeing there, because we are getting reports. I am getting texts from friends and people I know, acquaintances and sources, saying that Upper King Street is just as bad as what we're seeing in that area where all the law enforcement is. So where that law enforcement isn't, you kind of shudder to think about maybe some of the damage that's going on there. Because the rioters aren't there where we are right now, but they're somewhere.
Yes.
They may have been pushed out of that area, but they've been pushed into a different area as well.
And just like you mentioned, that's what Police Chief Luther Reynolds said earlier today. It's been hard for them to track where these rioters are going to make their next move, because they've been posting through social media, through the dark web, which is hard to track. But we do have News 2's Hannah Powers standing by. Hannah's been with us throughout the night. She was dining in a restaurant with her parents on King Street. That restaurant is called The Ordinary. It's a few blocks away from Marion Square when a rioter threw a brick in the window. The brick actually hit someone that was dining in the restaurant. That person is okay. Hannah, we want to check back in with you for any updates you have. Have you made it to safety?
Hi, Taylor. Well, I heard you actually asking Raymond about damaged storefronts, and I can go ahead and give you an update on that. Every storefront I saw was damaged. Glass was broken, signs vandalized, profanity, all of those things. I will tell you, myself and my parents were the last to leave the restaurant, and the waitstaff helped us escape through an alley, and then we were able to get my parents back to their hotel. And I will tell you, most of the roads were shut down. Law enforcement was very helpful, helping me get them to safety again with this curfew and trying to avoid some of these most dangerous areas. When I left the restaurant, they told me they were going to leave the lights on because they said other friends in the restaurant industry that had turned their lights off, then they had sort of opened themselves up to more vandalism. Very, very sad to see some of these iconic Charleston restaurants and eateries that we so love here in the Low Country to be vandalized in such a way. Very, very hard to see. I mean, my mother and father, who are not from here, were very, very disappointed to see that, because it really does shock you. Again, we were able to get out through the alley of the restaurant, so we didn't have to go out onto King Street. When we left, they had barricaded the door with the dining room tables, and they had closed all the blinds, locked the doors, and they quickly made sure everyone got out safely. The wait staff at the Ordinary did an amazing job communicating with all the guests and making sure everybody was safe and taken care of. But again, things escalated so quickly. We were enjoying a nice dinner, and then all of a sudden that brick being thrown through the window, hurting that woman, and things just really, really escalating from there.
I can in agreement with you, Brendan, as well. Of course, everyone watching at home, it's very hard to see the Low Country in treated this way, and by these 50 to 100 rioters that police say were left in downtown Charleston. Of course, what we experienced earlier, Brendan, was around 2 o'clock. Several hundred protesters had a peaceful protest in Marion Square, and City of Charleston Mayor John Tecklenburg, as well as Police Chief Luther Reynolds, did acknowledge the peaceful protesters. However, it quickly escalated, took a more chaotic turn, and it turned into riots here later this evening, Brendan.
A friend of mine at another restaurant on King Street, windows smashed, fire was thrown. That's what we are hearing right now. And the servers, the people who work there, terrified, hiding in the back, not expecting this possibly, because we've never had this before. We go back to our days at the Charleston church shooting, where we certainly thought something like this could happen, but it didn't. And now it is happening as a result of what we saw in Minneapolis just days ago. But we are hearing that the restaurant owners are all terrified, didn't expect it. About 9 o'clock is when things really started to escalate, is what I'm hearing from my friends who are down on Upper King Street, enjoying places such as Halls, Indigo, things like that. And all of a sudden the windows just started to be broken. And poor Hannah Powers out with her parents trying to enjoy a nice night out and a nice meal, and then something like that happens. Certainly took a turn for the worse here in the Holy City. Protesters seemingly peaceful in the afternoon, anything but tonight, as it has turned into rioters destroying sections of the Holy City.
Yeah, Brendan, really wreaking havoc. I mean, we've shown you guys multiple reports of businesses with their windows broken. We showed you the Apple Store. We don't have a clip of that right now. Right now, you're taking a live look near the Marion Square area, but the Apple Store on King Street, windows completely shattered. Of course, this is the story for a lot of businesses on King Street. So we are taking a live look. You can see law enforcement officers. There's multiple agencies downtown right now. We're told Berkeley County Sheriff's deputies are assisting the City of Charleston. There are other agencies there as well as they try and regain control of this area and push people out. Of course, we know there is a county-wide curfew in effect right now until 7 a.m., but we've still seen some unrest downtown.
We sure have, and things are quieted down, at least from our aspect right here as we are looking. We're at the Marion Square area, King Street there, at Francis Marion Hotel, Calhoun Street, kind of like the center for where all this happened, where all the law enforcement is, as we've seen with Raymond Owens and we've seen with Riley Benson. The law enforcement has made their way up King Street, past the church a little bit, past Hotel Bennett. We just saw them about 5 minutes ago throw another canister of tear gas. That is not in our view, but that's fine because we want our reporters to be safe and stay safe. And as we continue to look at this video, we're seeing law enforcement there continuing with the heavy presence. Obviously a sad day for this city as they try to protect storefronts and property owners from any additional damage that we've already seen.
Absolutely, Brendan. And actually, what you're looking at right now, Raymond is actually standing by right at this area. So we do want to continue our team coverage and toss live to News 2's Raymond Owens. He's going to give us a little bit of a look at what's happening and kind of describe what he's seeing. Raymond, are you standing by? As we wait for Raymond.
I am. I'm actually here in the middle of King Street, right here in front of Hotel Bennett. And basically, it's this area, basically right there next to Marion Square. They have pretty much cleared this area out completely. There are a few people here and there, but for the most part, I'm behind where the police law enforcement line is, right there kind of on the end of that block where Hotel Bennett is. And it's pretty much cleared out. This area does not have nearly the number of protesters that it had earlier this evening. And you can basically see we're kind of on the back side of the police line, kind of looking back down King Street from where we're at. You can see that the police are basically preparing to kind of make a next move down Hudson Street here on King Street. All of these businesses, we've talked about the windows being busted out. The Hotel Bennett, all of those windows of the Hotel Bennett pretty much are busted out. All of those businesses on the right side, right here in that kind of that block with Hotel Bennett, their windows are all busted out. There's windows busted out across the street here at the cigar shop that we showed you a little while ago. and then up and down King Street down past Calhoun. We understand there's damage there, of course, like at the Apple Store. So there's a lot of damage here in the area. We also have, looks like we have some more tear gas being fired, and smoke you can see kind of down the street here, looking down toward the law enforcement line. You can see a police officer, a police vehicle driving by right now. A couple of them driving down the road here on the back side of this group of law enforcement that are kind of pushing their way through downtown Charleston, trying to slowly kind of push this the protesters, if you will, kind of back. And you can actually see on the other side of where we're standing, kind of further down King Street, there are fire trucks and other vehicles on that end as well. So it looks like they're kind of centering this part of King Street and kind of bringing everyone together to kind of get out of that area, I suppose, over the next few minutes here, because like we've been saying, the curfew went into effect at 11 o'clock. So as of right now, no one is supposed to be out and about in downtown Charleston or in Charleston County for that matter. Live in downtown Charleston on King Street, I'm Raymond Owens. Back to you guys in the studio.
Definitely stay safe out there. I do want to read a report that I just received a text from someone in the Low Country, and it was an image of West Elm Furniture Store on King Street. Rioters have set fire inside that store. Wow. So just so you can get a gauge of where that store is, it is a few doors down from the iconic Callie's Biscuits, and so that's actually a few blocks from where Raymond is right now. That just goes to show that the rioters that were concentrated in that Marion Square area are now working their way up King Street, Brendan.
Yeah, we have reports of a fire up there. As you say, you don't see it from our video, but that's what we are hearing. We, of course, engage in all our social media pages, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, checking out videos from there as well. Just got video, received that from the person who actually threw that rock through the window of the Apple Store in Lower King Street there and broke that window there. As we know, a lot of damage has been done to the Apple Store as well. Makes you wonder, Taylor, down the road, what law enforcement is going to do. Are they going to be looking at this video? Are they going to be trying to identify the people who have done this and actually hold their feet to the flames and prosecute them for what they are doing here in the Holy City tonight?
Absolutely, Brendan, and that is exactly what the police chief of City of Charleston said earlier today. I mean, they said they will be in downtown Charleston all night long, and they are ready to make arrests for anyone that is exhibiting this behavior. Of course, at this point, we do not know how many arrests have been made. I mean, that is something we're going to have to check in with them about, but definitely so many different incidents of crime happening right now in the Holy City.
And this is the second report. We just talked about it a minute ago. I am getting another friend telling me that West Elm Furniture is on fire. So that's the second report that we have had of that. We've also seen pictures of that. We are hoping the law enforcement is able to move quickly enough and disperse the rioters, and not any more protesters, but rioters, and getting them out of the area where they can actually get that fire, if there is a fire there at West Elm Furniture, under control, getting everyone out safely if anyone is there, hopefully, and probably they aren't, but we really hope that we get the situation under control on Upper King Street in downtown Charleston.
Absolutely, Brendan, and as we learn about that and hear more official reports about any fires, we will, of course, bring that information to you live on air. We are going to check in with Raymond Owens right now, standing by live at Marion Square. Raymond? I do see a lot of tear gas in the air right now.
Yeah, actually, law enforcement has turned around. You can see they are now headed back down the street from where I'm at. Law enforcement is now walking down the street. They fired some either smoke or tear gas. I don't feel like I can feel the tear gas in my eyes like I could earlier right this minute. They're actually headed back down this direction. A number of protesters did kind of just show up, not a whole lot, but there were a number of them that kind of started showing up on this end, and then they started firing off something toward them and turned around, heading this direction back down King Street, where they're now passing the Hotel Bennett, and you can hear them as they walk down the street. We're just watching this live right now. There's really nobody at beyond back over toward Calhoun. I don't really see anybody else, any other protesters in front of them at this point, but they are basically clearing the street. And that we've got to move back too, we're being told. So let's go. Okay, we're all going back. I guess we're going together. So, so wait a minute. Now they said we're stopping here, or they're stopping. So that's what's going on here right now. I just wanted to send it back to you guys. It's a very fluid situation. Things happening minute by minute, and we're trying to bring you as much of it as we possibly can. Back to you in the studio.
Okay, Raymond, obviously safety first for our crews out there. Raymond Owens, Riley Benson, staying back with law enforcement as more tear gas has been dispersed. I just did get a picture from a viewer, a friend of ours of Channel 2, showing a fire inside a building on King Street, on Upper King Street. I've been down there several times. I can't make out what building it is, but I am looking at a fire inside a building on King Street right now.
Absolutely.
So that's confirmation from a very trusted source here at News 2 that there is some problems going on Upper King Street tonight.
And Brendan, that's certainly not the only incident that has happened to innocent businesses in our holy city. I mean, earlier, like we mentioned, Riley Benson was right outside of the Apple Store. You're actually taking a live, not a live look, excuse me, you're taking a look at video from earlier of the Apple Store. We are told that that window was shattered. People barged through that door. We have not gotten it confirmed what was looted from the store, if things were looted, but our reporter on scene did tell us that it appeared that things were taken from the Apple Store, Brendan.
Yeah, if you can look inside, usually on the shelves. I don't know if the Apple employees were able to take those products off the shelves before all this started to happen, but looks like the shelves inside the Apple Store are bare. Such a sad thing to see right there. As the second Sunday on King Street, you go down there, you enjoy so much of what the Holy City has to offer on King Street and Lower King, but it has been targeted by these people. It's a sad day in the Holy City as these people who have done all this damage to the property and it really just hurt how people feels about Charleston. So, okay, and we know earlier tonight around 6:30, this is what happened here. The protesters did leave that area, Taylor.
That's right, Brendan.
And they headed to I-26,
Yeah.
the Ravenel Bridge. From what we hear, they are trying to block traffic on the Ravenel
Absolutely.
Bridge, but were not successful. Although another friend of mine who was trying to go to West Ashford from Mount Pleasant, we were told, he came up to the Ravenel Bridge. They said, nope, you're not going over it. Turn around. This bridge is closed.
That's exactly right, Brendan. This was exactly like you said, around the 6 o'clock, between 6 and 7 o'clock. And this was the first time we really saw those protests start to take a turn, because like I said earlier, they were pretty peaceful. A statue was vandalized in downtown Charleston. Besides that, they were mostly peaceful. This is when it started to take a turn. Like you said, Brendan, the protesters started to leave downtown Charleston, walk up the I-26 ramp, and start to physically cross the Ravenel Bridge, only they were not on the sidewalk. They were walking where the motorists should be driving. Because of this, law enforcement on the city of Charleston side, as well as the Mount Pleasant side on the other side of the bridge, really had to take over this situation and close the bridge for a while, which caused a lot of backup in the area.
I'm talking about it to a business owner from King Street, tells me that was actually bad for him, because then the protesters kind of did a U-turn and came back in that area.
Absolutely.
And continued to do damage down there. So what you don't want them on the Ravenel Bridge doing what they are doing there, but you also don't want them down there. And I did just
Absolutely.
get a picture also that shows, that is confirmed, that the West Elm Furniture, there is a fire in there. Looks like to the furniture itself, there is a fire at West Elm Furniture on King Street. Sad, sad thing to see.
Of course, and as we learn updates about that, we will be bringing that to you tonight, but even online at counton2.com. But since we don't have updates on that quite yet from law enforcement, we are going to continue our team coverage with News 2's Riley Benson, who's standing by in downtown Charleston still. Riley, what are the conditions downtown right now?
Taylor, well, a lot of people have cleared out of this area, and I'm going to go ahead and take my mask off. A lot of people have cleared out of this area. If you can see over my shoulder, this is SWAT. So SWAT's set up right here, and then the law enforcement is still set up right here on the corner of Calhoun and King. I'm at Francis Marion Hotel. Now, as Raymond was telling you, that line of law enforcement had gone down past Hotel Bennett. They had now turned around, and they've gone back up King Street towards Apple. So they are, obviously trying to clear out as many people as they can. Again, this is SWAT, so law enforcement, this is probably the heaviest seen a presence we've seen in quite some time on this intersection, Calhoun and King. They had worked their way down, now they're back. They really cleared this area out. We did just have some tear gas, 5-10 minutes ago, but really now most people have left this area. There are a few tricklers, that are coming off of King. They're sending them down Calhoun past us. And you can hear some activity is going on the other side of the SWAT truck. Sounds like it's coming somewhere towards CVS or Walgreens, excuse me, here on King Street. But really, most people have cleared out of this area, which is good news. But really, a heavy presence of law enforcement, police officers over my shoulder here on the corner of King and Calhoun Street. Taylor and Brendan.
And continuing our team coverage, he is down with law enforcement. You can see right there at King and Calhoun. And I'm hoping this curfew,
Absolutely.
I'm hoping law enforcement with their tear gas and trying to disperse this crowd, we all hope for the sake of the Holy City and that area down there on King Street that people are dispersing, people are heading home, people aren't going to do any more damage. But It's 11:30. The curfew's been in place for 30 minutes. We're talking
Yeah.
about fires in Upper King at furniture stores and
mean,
other stores there. So you know it's probably going to be a long night for law
Yeah.
enforcement and for all of us here in the Low Country.
Brendan, and we're going to continue to monitor it. Unfortunately, I can't say that it sounds like it's calming down completely,
Right,
and
right,
that's evident in our coverage. So we are going to continue our team coverage, but just a recap of kind of what has happened today. I mean, Brendan, when I came in earlier today around 2 o'clock, there were several hundred people having a peaceful protest in downtown Charleston, but that obviously escalated. That's what we're looking at now.
Yeah, and these are heavily these guys are mean business right here.
Absolutely.
When there's a curfew in place and members of SWAT are in place, that means they're trying to get these people off the streets and back at home. We've seen about 10 minutes ago, Raymond Owens was a little further up, right past the Hotel Bennett by Virginia's on King, that line of law enforcement, which has since moved back, was up there, and they did disperse another tear gas canister to try and get these people out of the vicinity. And they are out of this vicinity, Taylor, as we've told you, but they went somewhere, and a lot of them didn't go home, and a lot of them are still hell-bent on doing destruction to property and trying to wreak as much havoc as they can in this area, and they're going to do that until law enforcement gets out there, which they are going to do eventually, to try and stop the damage, stop the mayhem, and stop the havoc that these few people are creating here on King Street and in downtown Charleston.
And Brendan, that is the exact reason there is a curfew right now in all of Charleston County. You know, it's not just to protect these businesses, but it's also to protect you at home. I mean, the City of Charleston Police has said early on in the night they don't want people in downtown Charleston. They want people to avoid this area because it's just so unpredicted where these rioters are going to go next. And like you mentioned, Brendan, it does appear that they have cleared out of Marion Square because of the tear gas used by law enforcement. You're looking right now at SWAT in downtown Charleston on scene, but reports we've been hearing of fires in other parts of King Street, it does appear that the rioters have simply moved to a new location, and that's why we are continuing to monitor this.
Yeah, we sure are, and this is the video that we have taken. This is live right now. It is 11:30, as we know that curfew is in effect. You can see still people are standing around, not in a working capacity. Some onlookers trying to see what they can. There you can see that's Raymond Owens and our other crew in the scene up there. But it continues until 7 a.m., this curfew, and we will continue to be here covering for you. We're hoping that the worst of it is behind us.
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed. Don't know if that is true, but we do know that I think Police Chief Luther Reynolds, I think he called these people domestic terrorists.
That is what he
said. The City of Charleston, that's what the police chief said. And I think that's an accurate description.
I do
here.
too, Brendan.
Because I got no problem with someone protesting.
Yeah.
With what happened a couple of days ago, I have no problem people speaking their mind, their displeasure, and wanting change. But this isn't the way to get it. That's
Absolutely,
for sure.
and that is exactly what the police chief said, as well as Mayor John Tecklenburg. They stand in solidarity with the peaceful protest because of what happened in Minneapolis. Of course, you should know what's going on by now, but if you're just tuning in, of course, what happened earlier today is we had several hundred peaceful protesters march up and down King Street, standing in solidarity with people around the nation for the death of George Floyd, an unarmed African-American man that in Minneapolis, excuse me, earlier on Monday at the hands of law enforcement. So what happened is a peaceful march of about several hundred people kind of dispersed for a moment and then reconvened, and it turned chaotic and pretty aggressive. You're looking live at what's going on in downtown Charleston right now.
And Taylor, we're looking at all our social media
Of course.
facilities. Twitter, we're seeing so much video and so many pictures come in Twitter, our Instagram account. If you want to follow us live on our website too, go to countont2.com, search WCBD, put our app on your phone. But the police chief also added it will be a sad morning when the damage can be seen from the protesters. And actually, this is far from being over.
Absolutely.
And he didn't say that just minutes ago. He said that over an hour ago, that it's far from over. And that's sad to hear that as well, because we know it's the nighttime is out there beyond the lights, and people continue to do this damage. We're hoping law enforcement can get their arms around it and can stop it as peacefully as possible. We'll see. Time will tell, doesn't it always?
Absolutely, Brendan. And I mean, one thing that they already are calling for, which is City of Charleston, Charleston County, are already calling for citizens to help in the cleanup tomorrow. And I mean, that just goes to show that they already are anticipating quite a cleanup for the Holy City. So it was kind of an unofficial call for citizens to help at 8 a.m. tomorrow with the cleanup. But of course, the main concern for the citizens right now is to really stay indoors right now, because that curfew is in effect until 7 a.m.
Yep. Okay. And Yeah, exactly, and it is. And, you know, we're talking about cleanup. We have to still talk about damage. What will there be to
Absolutely.
clean up? I mean, if they're setting a fire to a furniture store, we know how combustible a furniture store can be. So we know the fire department hopefully can get in there, and hopefully law enforcement get around there and protect the area while the fire department can do their job. We are hoping that is the case, as it is about, I don't know, about 4 or 5 blocks up from where we are on Upper King Street right now. The restaurants that have been damaged, the halls where a friend of mine called in and said she was evacuated, that is just a block and a half up the road, right up there where law enforcement is, and that place was heavily damaged as well. So we're going to continue to follow this. We're hoping to hear from people about their experiences on the road. That skateboarder out there shouldn't be there. Obviously, there's a curfew in place. Just adds to the problem when people are out there, the onlookers, the people who aren't doing it. If you're just out there just looking around and you're curious, you don't need to be. You can just go home. Law enforcement's trying to do their job, trying to get control of everything that's going on right now. This curfew's been in effect for 36 minutes, and it will be in effect until 7 a.m. You can see the streets are empty, visibly different than what we saw just a few hours ago, as tensions were running pretty high. Rioters and law enforcement face to face, and the rioters were not talking nicely to law enforcement, causing a lot of damage. It all started around 3 o'clock this afternoon, peacefully, I might add, in Marion Square, but things have gone downhill once the sun set. Things started to get a little disappointing, a little crazy out there on King Street, and we are continuing to look live right now in that area, and thankfully things have quieted down there. But
Yeah.
where else?
Yeah, and that is the question, Brendan. I think as law enforcement tries to monitor all areas of downtown Charleston, we are waiting to see if we're going to hear more reports of these rioters kind of storming other areas. We certainly hope not, of course. I do want to read, as you take a live look at downtown Charleston, I want to read a statement that we just got from the City of Charleston Mayor John Tecklenburg. He just issued a statement just into our newsroom moments ago, and it does say, quote, "The murder of George Floyd has rightly caused outrage here and across the country. And while we as Charlestonians strongly support all of the good men and women who are peacefully and lawfully protesting that terrible crime, we cannot and will not condone acts of violence and vandalism in our city. Tonight, our police will work to contain the relatively small number of bad actors who are doing this damage. And tomorrow morning, Charlestonians of every race and station will come together to reject all forms of violence and injustice and to affirm once again that ours is a city united in peace," end quote. And that was directly from Mayor John Tecklenburg. Of course, Brendan, you know, what Mayor John Tecklenburg is talking about truly rings true of the aftermath of the terrible tragedy at Mother Emanuel. I mean, that was a different response than what we're seeing right now, right, Brendan?
No, 100% different. That was, 5 years ago, June in 2015. I remember the night like it was yesterday, a hot, humid night, kind of like tonight, probably 90 degrees of the humidity as we were out there all throughout the night. And, you know, there was a chance things could escalate, and they did somewhat in the following days after all this. As we know, the statement of that person who was in the courtroom and said they forgave Dylan Roof early on after he had just been arrested, did a lot to quell what could have happened in Charleston as we know it. We were very proud at that moment that things didn't escalate, and what happened tonight, we're not too proud of that. It's a black eye for the Holy City and what some people have done to this beautiful city and continue to do out of the range of our cameras.
And one thing the police chief in the city of Charleston mentioned is they were trying to determine if these rioters that we're seeing tonight are even from the Low Country. That is something that they are trying to determine, and we're hoping to learn more about that tomorrow. Of course, you're taking a live look. It appears that a gas can or some smoke was thrown in, and it was not thrown by law enforcement. That seems to be a rioter, and you're taking a look at that.
We may be throwing it back. Yeah, we're not quite sure. As you're seeing what we are seeing right there. We are hearing a siren right now. This person on a skateboard, with a skateboard, obviously has a problem with something, as we saw a smoke canister go across the ground. He's upset. Too bad. You shouldn't be out there. It's 11:30. There's a curfew. Go home.
And really, Brendan, I mean, we've seen people disperse from this area right here near Marion Square. So it is interesting that that individual and some people are walking back towards that area, because we did see them kind of disperse from that area. Now, Raymond is standing by. We're hoping to go to him soon so we can get another update. Oh, there he is. Raymond.
Yes, I'm right outside the Francis Marion Hotel. I'm good right now. Thank you. I'm right next to the Francis Marion Hotel. Excuse me. We just had some tear gas thrown in this area. If you look down the street here, this is Calhoun Street. King Street's kind of right behind us. You've got the College of Charleston bookstore on the right side to give you an idea of where we're located. These individuals are walking up here toward the SWAT truck, and they are firing. See here, they're firing non-lethal. They're actually firing at this individual, this man right now. They've been doing this to people who are coming from about that distance or closer. If they get that close, not only are they firing that, but then as you hear that sound, that's a high piercing sound. They're using that also to kind of keep people away from here, and that is a loud piercing sound designed specifically to do what they're trying to do here. As you can see, as they do the non-lethal firing of the non-lethal shots, the people are backing up. It looks like most of them are, at least. There's a couple of police cars we showed you earlier tonight, I think, that have been bashed out. Their windows, back of the windows, side windows have been bashed out of those police cars, and you can see law enforcement vehicles back here as well, but there's also a few protesters within that crowd of vehicles that you're looking at right here behind us, kind of turning around, looking back toward King Street. This is what it looks like here. We've got the SWAT vehicle. We've got the line of law enforcement that we've seen throughout the day here at King Street, this time kind of looking down Calhoun. Excuse me. And you can see, actually, you can see some of the marks here in the ground. David, I don't know if you want to look over here. You can see where the non-lethal firings. That's what it kind of looks like. As it hits the ground or hits people who are being fired at. And this gentleman's starting to walk back up here again. It looks like, and I don't know if they definitely have somebody up in the top of that SWAT vehicle preparing to fire if needed. So they are one by one, literally at this point, kind of clearing out this area of downtown Charleston. This guy's holding his hands up, he's dropped the skateboard, and excuse me, you can definitely still feel a little bit of the tear gas in the air here right now. Not as strong as it was just a minute ago, but they are continuing this effort of trying to rid downtown of the protests in this area and try to enforce really that curfew that began at 11 o'clock and continues through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning throughout Charleston County. So it is a very active. This lady right here, right where we're standing, she's being fired at. She's saying she's trying to go. I don't know what's going on here, but she just walked in here. They did fire at her a couple of times. But anyway, that's, as you can see, there's a lot. They're kind of trying to clear this section up here. We've got the loud piercing sound they're using again. And we've got some people trying to move their way back up Calhoun Street toward where we're at. But they are staying at least a little bit of a distance back compared to what we were seeing here just a few minutes ago. But this is extraordinarily a changing moment-by-moment situation here in downtown Charleston. There's definitely not the large crowds that we are seeing, at least like from what I'm looking at back here. This is not the, upwards of possibly 1,000 people or more that we might have seen earlier. But there are definitely still people here who are protesting and who are being aggressive toward law enforcement in some way, shape, or form, like this individual you saw here in the road just a minute ago. That's kind of what's going on here on Calhoun Street in downtown Charleston. I'm Raymond Owens. Back to you.
Is Raymond Owens certainly struggling there, doing a great job there with everything that's going on. We know he's had to deal with the tear gas and the pepper spray as well, and he's trying to fight through that to give us a better idea of what exactly is going down, what he's seeing down there. And we are also getting in so much video, Taylor, and pictures of some of the things that have gone on earlier down there, possible gunshots by Halls. I'm just looking at the video, and I'm not saying there were definitely gunshots. I'm saying there were reports of possible gunshots in or around Hall's Chop House, the restaurant up there. Certainly the video I'm seeing, people dispersed quickly after hearing those. We know they're different sounds to the canisters of tear gas being thrown out of a gun and things like that.
But you're onto it, Brendan. I mean, we've heard multiple reports from viewers of incidents like this, and I mean, we've seen police cars with their windows bashed. I mean, these are just things we've seen throughout the day. We've seen Confederate statues around the city, one in particular in White Point Gardens, vandalized. So we've just seen a lot of different isolated incidents. Of course, it all coming to like a point here in the Marion Square area, King Street area tonight. So you're still taking a look. It appears that SWAT is now moving down King Street. They're still trying to regain control, even though this curfew, Brendan, has been in effect for nearly 45 minutes. People still in downtown Charleston.
Which we saw. We saw that guy there with the skateboard acting like a fool. We saw different people walking around in that area as well. But law enforcement definitely has control of that area right there. Kind of scared to think what we're going to see when the sun comes up tomorrow morning, because we're going to see probably the extent of the damage that we are not seeing right now, just for the safety of our crews who are hanging out with law enforcement or by law enforcement to be protected in that area as well. As we continue to look at this curfew that's in effect in Charleston and Charleston County. Obviously, Charleston County spans a very large portion of the Low Country. That curfew mainly in effect for downtown Charleston. That's where we've seen most of the riots. It did spread out a little bit to 26 and the Ravenel Bridge, but for the most part has been contained to this area of downtown Charleston.
And Brendan, I do want to make note of something. I mean, we are seeing, of course, a lot of rioters. We're, of course, seeing law enforcement and SWAT, but we just got a message to our newsroom from a viewer drawing our attention to the fact that there's still employees inside restaurants right now on King Street that are kind of sheltering in place. And I mean, and I think that's because a lot of people went to work today and opened up businesses not expecting this to happen.
I'm not quite sure of what the protocol is right now if they are still in that restaurant, because there is a curfew. I'm sure they'd be given a pass if they are trying to get home at this hour right now if they've been sheltered in place. But I certainly wouldn't want to leave the restaurant with everything that was going on outside during that time a couple of hours ago. And now it might be a little more safe if you are able to leave. I'm not saying to do that, but for people who've been sheltered in place and scared, my heart goes out for you. Absolutely. I'm sorry it's happened. I just want you to stay safe, and if that means staying in the restaurant overnight just to stay safe, then you may have to do that as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just looking, monitoring the conditions, peeking out the window, kind of seeing what's going on. And as you can see, I mean, it's still a very active scene in downtown Charleston as law enforcement officers just kind of make their way around the streets. What we know from earlier is they were making announcements to people that were rioters that were crowded around Marion Square saying, leave or we're going to gas. And that is exactly what happened. Our reporters even having to kind of navigate around that tear gas so they can bring us reports and, of course, focus on their safety as well. So we are continuing to monitor this. We've got teams in downtown Charleston. We're continuing to monitor all the updates into our newsroom. And I mean, the police chief earlier today believes that this was a group of about 50 or 100 that caused these riots and made a really, really big mess in the Holy City.
And I know I've sent some pictures to the newsroom. I'm hoping that we can get those edited and put up so we can see during this newscast of some of the damage we've seen on Upper King, such as fires and things like that. This possible gunshots in or around Hall's Chop House, the restaurant there on Upper King as well. Just got sent a second video on that, which I have sent up to the newsroom. Hopefully we can possibly get that edited and out for you to see. If you don't see it live on air, just go to our website, counton2.com, or our Twitter page, just search WCBD. Hopefully you can see additional coverage there for you.
And I know that city officials, as well as Charleston County Council and Charleston County officials, are just really trying to navigate what to do next and how to approach this. I know that one thing that was discussed earlier today is emergency management for Charleston County was trying to decide whether they should call in the National Guard. I mean, this is something that they were talking about. At this point, we have not heard that call made. That is not something that is official, but that is something they were throwing around as things continue to escalate here in downtown Charleston.
You continue to look live right now in the area of King and Calhoun. Right there across the street is the pharmacy right there. Behind our camera is the Francis Marion Hotel. You can still see people out there. Some are in the working capacity, some are not. Law enforcement working to get people out of that area, as you've seen. Not a real sense of urgency from the people, the law enforcement that are hanging back. They did make a move about 46 minutes ago, about maybe more than an hour ago. They moved up Upper King a little bit, dispersed some tear gas canisters right past Virginia's on King, that area, right past Hotel Bennett, which we saw.
We saw the damage.
Sustained so much damage right there with broken windows.
Just so sad to see our newest hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, just definitely hard to see here.
And a lot of owners, business owners are disappointed down there.
course.
A lot of people, of course, we have a reputation for not doing this sort of thing here in Charleston, but it certainly happened tonight, and maybe some retailers were down there not thinking it was going to be happening, weren't told it was happening, and the damage they sustained to their buildings, they'll be cleaning up that mess for quite some time.
It's very shocking,
It sure
Brendan.
is.
Very, very shocking. And so we're just continuing to monitor everything that's going on. Of course, right now that curfew is in effect, and it's in effect for all of Charleston County, not just downtown Charleston.
Yeah, as needed. Obviously, downtown Charleston is the focal point right there as we go back and looking live right there at King and Calhoun of all the law enforcement down there. Not dispersing any more tear gas or anything like that, but the SWAT team is there, the tactical team right there, trying to quell any problems. And once again, what you're seeing here is not probably what's going on in different areas of downtown Charleston, because those rioters who were there and were very upset and very vocal aren't there anymore, but they are somewhere. Our hope is that they went home or
Definitely
went
our hope.
back to wherever they came from if they weren't from here in Charleston, and not causing any more damage. I don't know if that's wishful thinking or not. But
Yeah,
it
but I think that's what
probably
everyone
isn't
is
happening right now, as we've seen different pictures of a building, the West Elm Furniture Store in Upper King. We saw definitely a fire inside. That can be confirmed to some of the furniture inside that store.
Yeah, and Brendan, I mean, the police chief addressed some of the vandalism that happened earlier today. I mean, he said that these rioters took baseball bats and they broke store windows along King Street, which you've obviously seen. They've thrown water bottles at police officers. They've picking up those gas cans thrown by law enforcement officers and thrown them right back. I mean, it has just been a lot of chaos that we've been seeing in the Holy City. And I mean, the police chief, he said it perfectly. He called these individuals domestic terrorists. I mean, this is not something we're used to seeing here in Charleston, a city that, you know, has claimed the word Charleston strong after incidents like what happened in Minneapolis. So, I mean, it's definitely something we're continuing to monitor. Right now, as you can see, you're taking a live look at Marion Square. This is this King Street and Calhoun?
Yep.
Yes,
right
it's
there
King Street
across
and
from
Calhoun.
we're right there behind the camera shot. Right there is the Francis Marion Hotel. You are down to the right is King Street that you're looking at right down there. Usually a very festive time, usually a good time. You go down there and shop. Me and my daughter go down there all the time and shop. Second Sunday on King Street. A wonderful place to be day in and day out, but not tonight as a result of what happened. Be interesting to see, Taylor, whether there will be any numbers as far as injuries, which we haven't heard much about, or any arrests. Don't know about any arrests tonight. Don't know if there will be arrests in the future, as law enforcement can possibly look at any video and the pictures. I mean, these people were breaking windows. You are on camera. So we'll see if law enforcement can get that. We're going to continue our team coverage, going back down to Raymond Owens, who is working down there. Raymond, what can you tell us?
Right now, we're here at the corner of King Street and Calhoun, and as you can see, law enforcement kind of blocking off the roads in different directions, pretty much all directions here at King Street and Calhoun. I do want to I have a quick interview here with you. Leslie Lyles, a former News 2 anchor, you were downtown eating. Tell me about what you've seen during this the protest.
Well, not as much as you, obviously. So I was coming across the Cup River Bridge to have some supper downtown, and obviously aware of a certain amount of what was going on, and that's when the bridge was blocked off. So I contacted Rob Fowler to say, hey, if something's going on, let me know. And we were having some dinner on Society Street, and we were a couple stories up, and then the staff came and said we all needed to move to the back of the restaurant because there were some incidents, you know, out on King Street. And then, of course, we later learned about some things that may have happened at the Apple store and those kinds of things that you're more aware of than I am. And it's just escalated. It's hot like it is everywhere else. But I think hopefully people are trying to be respectful, but it seems like there may have been a bit of looting. And then, you know, everybody is, you know, you can see that they're tense. You know, they're shooting these pellets at you and they're filled with dust. but it's dark.
Right, yeah, talk
and
about that.
there's
You
a
were walking up the
curfew.
street and those pellets are...
Right, it's true, but I wasn't supposed to be walking up the street. It's past a curfew. I understand there's a curfew now, so we're past the curfew. So I shouldn't have been doing that.
Right.
So I think it's fair game. So not to escalate any thought process there. Everybody's just doing the best we can. But I'll say this: this is the most beautiful town in America, and filled with the best people in America, in my personal opinion. And thank you. And the point is this: we have something to say. Let's say it nicely. This is what we do here. We say it nicely. And we don't need to have anybody getting hurt. We don't need any poor reflection on us as a community. If we abide by the protocols and we protest properly, we'll be good. Let's put up some drones tomorrow and show peaceful, great protests in the fashion of Martin Luther King. That's the way it's done. When we burn things and we break things, I don't know that much good comes from it. You know, and it's arguable that some change happened a couple of days ago. Some arrests were made when things got heated, but progress has been made. So hopefully we can just stay the course and we won't have to fear each other. We can work together. So yes, I was in a restaurant, we had to dim the lights. That's a weird thing, right? Because people are afraid. Let's not be afraid. You know, let's protest and let's work together. That's what we do. We saw it, you know, at Grace Emmanuel. We were the standard bearer for this country when that happened. Let's do it again. We can. We can come out here every night, but let's do it right.
Well, thank you so much. Again, Leslie Lyles, former News 2 anchor. I appreciate you giving us your thoughts about what you've seen here tonight. It has been incredible to see something like this here in the Low Country. I mean, you've been here for many, many years as well. Have you ever experienced anything like this?
No, I remember one time seeing a riot about to happen at the Port Authority, but nothing quite like this. But what we have to remember is these things happen, and it's happened before, and progress is made. So we don't need to dwell on it. We need to listen to what people are saying, work together, and cover it nicely and try to be safe. We're going through a hard time now. Businesses are going through a hard time. So protest, great. Let's just don't let anybody get hurt. That's what I think. If we have to dim the lights out of fear, not good. But I understand what people are trying to do. I do. And so that's why I try to cover it fairly and be nonpartisan and just work together. That's the goal.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking a moment to talk to us. And as you see here, the law enforcement are still in place here at the corner of Cal. Pretty much kind of been a nucleus of where they have been pretty much throughout the day and trying to clear out the streets here. They did make their way down each of the individual streets a bit to make sure they were as clear as possible. And we don't see a lot of protesters. There are some protesters here right under the Francis Marion Hotel sign. You can see a few, but there aren't a whole lot of them here, definitely not in the numbers that we were seeing earlier. Live in downtown, back to you.
Raymond, thank you so much for that continued coverage. I mean, Brendan, it appears that in that area, there's definitely a lot less rioters than we were seeing earlier.
Yeah, things have definitely quieted down. That is a good thing. We certainly enjoy seeing that. It was good to see Leslie getting her firsthand knowledge of what is going on down there, and we certainly appreciate her insight into that. We certainly appreciate Raymond Owens doing the coverage for us live down there as well. We hope things are quieting down. As we know, it is midnight right now. This curfew is in effect until 7 a.m. We hope people are listening and continue to listen to this curfew, and we hope that law enforcement can continue to do their job kind of quelling what has happened down there.
Yeah, Brendan, and all day we've seen, I mean, it is multiple agencies kind of banding together in downtown Charleston trying to regain control of what has happened. Sure. And that curfew you mentioned, Brendan, I mean, it is for all of Charleston County. So if you're at home listening, that applies to anyone in Charleston County, not just the city of Charleston. That is in effect until 7 a.m. So I think, are going to go back to Raymond Owens. I think he's got
Riley
something.
Benson,
Riley Benson?
I think we're going to Riley Benson.
Let's
Is
toss
that right,
to him.
Bill? Yeah.
They're in downtown Charleston. Riley?
Taylor and Brendan, I'm on the corner of Calhoun and King Street, and you can see still the heavy presence of law enforcement, police officers. We have my mic's on. Can you hear? Can you guys hear me now? All right, we're on the corner of Calhoun and King, and as you can see, this is still a heavy presence of law enforcement. We see the SWAT still standing here. Guys, this line hasn't moved since, what, maybe 10 o'clock? I mean, this line has been really set up here on the corner of King and Calhoun now for quite some time. Really, we aren't seeing too many people down here. There's a small group of people down here in front of me. As I look down King Street, there are a few people still coming, but really this area has cleared out for the most part. We have, like Raymond's told you, we've seen some different things. We haven't seen tear gas for a while, but this group of law enforcement has been set up here on the corner for quite some time. Again, it's probably been about an hour, and it looks like they're getting ready to mobilize and maybe move down Calhoun Street. There is a heavy presence of law enforcement down in the distance on Calhoun. They're still instructing people, the few people that are still left down in this particular area, this Calhoun and King Street, to continue to move down Calhoun away from Marion Square. But guys, just a really, really unreal scene. Very sad to see this right now, Brennan and Taylor.
Okay, we are